Alright, welcome back everyone. I actually did record all the wrong endings last night, but my microphone messed up once again. Fortunately, the extended ending, the audio was just fine in that, so fortunately I don't have to do that again. But this isn't so bad. This is rather long though. This whole chapter is rather long with both just the main chapter and the wrong endings. So, in order to proceed to the true ending, you don't want to help the ghost. But let's help him and see what happens.
困っているようだし、俺たちにできることなら助けてやりたいな。そう。もしかしたらここから出る手がかりを教えてくれるかもしれないし。僕の頭を頼む。君らの損にはならないから。
The door and window alike are frozen in place, as if they're just decorations on the wall. Nothing even rattles when pushed. It looks to be a bucket, probably used by the custodian for mopping the floors. There's nothing inside. Yeah, this requires, triggering certain things in order to get certain... It's weird. Okay, looks like we need to trigger something. I'll likely edit to speed it up, because this is the only one that really requires work. I believe we need to go into the music room. The first things I noticed when entering the room were a stack of candles and a box of matches right in front of my eyes. Okay, I'm just going to edit this out because it's all in the, well, I'll just speed it up. I don't give a shit. So you need to get the candles, I believe, because I had to do that last time. Okay. I don't know why. You have to have the candles, because I think I had issues with the last recording too, if I remember correctly. So let's take a look at this just in case we need to have this examined first. A decomposed human cranium occupies the top left cubby on this shelf. It mustn't have been easy to make it fit, as there are tiny pieces of flesh and scalp tissue all along the frame. The only standout injury is to the jaw, which is clearly smashed in, giving the face an eerie, unnatural expression. Based on what's left of its facial features and the cut of its hair, this was likely a male middle school student. Simply standing in the presence of this severed head was turning my stomach. The foul stench of decay was absolutely overpowering. Even in this low light, I could easily see maggots crawling through his eye sockets, his nose, his mouth, all over his skin. They were everywhere.
手で持って。
できれば許したい。何か入れ物を探した方が良さそうだな。
Okay. So now we can get that bucket. Acquired bucket. It's old and rusted, but it still seems sturdy enough. I don't know why you have to have the candles and matches triggered. I guess it's because they want you to do it after that. I don't know. The only standout injury is to the jaw, which is clearly smashed in, giving the face an eerie, unnatural expression. Based on what's left of its facial features and the cut of its hair, this was likely a male middle school student. Looking closely, something seems to have been shoved into his mouth. Okay, it looks like this is the same.
亡くなってからさっきのバケツ使ってみるか。このバケツなら入りそうだな。俺がやるよ。美月はバケツを持っていてくれるか。
分かった。ありがとう、フクロイ。
いいさ。
Fukuroi used his hands to dig the head out of its cubbyhole and plop it into the bucket. The maggots, sensing that something was amiss, suddenly began pouring out of its various sockets and climbing all over their new rusted metal home.
はい、ティッシュ使って。
助かる。もう二度と味わいたくない感触だよ。
持ってきたよ。
君の頭だと思う。受け取ってくれ。
僕の頭だ。僕の顔、こんなに腐ってしまって。なんだこの虫どもは。僕の顔醜い。
同情するよ。ここには君と同じように亡くなっている人が大勢いる。なんとか警察に連絡して犯人を逮捕してもらわないと。
お前哀れんだな。僕をかわいそうなやつだと思ったな。
いや、そういう意味では不快に感じたなら謝るよ。
僕が惨めだと思ったろ。醜くて不潔だと思ったろ。二度と僕の体には触りたくないと。
フクロイ、なんか様子が変だよ。
ああ。 ここは一旦外へ。
自分がまだ生きているから、だから死人を見下す傲慢な聖者。お前たちもこっち来い。お前たちを奴らに渡してやる。怖いぞ、奴らはとびきり怖いぞ。
So that's what happens when we help him. Fukuroi opens his big mouth and unintentionally insults the ghost, and the ghost sends us to some really awful people. And you probably know who they are.
ここは袋井？袋井？どこ？どっかその辺で気絶してるのかな。あ、そうだ、ろうそく。
My surroundings were far different than I'd expected. I seemed to be in some sort of hallway underground. There was a chill in the air, both literally and figuratively. The smell that wafted about was both musty and gloomy somehow.
袋井、しっかりして。私たちなんかヤバそうなとこに落とされちゃったよ。袋井ってば。袋井。
His eyes were wide open, but he gave no response. Looking a bit closer, I noticed that his neck had been severely twisted. He was staring right at me, but his body was facing the other direction. And his half-agape jaw was completely motionless. He wasn't breathing.
嘘。冗談でしょ。ねえ。笑えないって。
And then there were footsteps.
誰か来る。どうしよう。
I think I already have a save of this section, but I'm going to save again just in case, because both lead to different wrong endings. So let's choose to wait here for now.
よかった、人だ。もしかしたら黒崎かトウコたちが。こっち、助けて。こっちに怪我人がいるの。
The footsteps drew closer and closer, and then finally, the figure making them came into view.
すみません。私、白檀高等学校の生徒で2年の。バカ、何言ってんの。こいつがまともな人間に見えるの。
Yeah, the blood red eyes and the black tears.
山本美月って言います。友達が怪我しちゃって物持って血だらけじゃん。こいつだよ。こいつが。私たち気がついたらここにいてした人から逃げるのよ。逃げろ。逃げて美月。助けてください。
Alright, that's the first wrong ending. And when she got the matches, it made me think of recently there was a Japanese guy who streams. He bought an oil lighter and ended up burning his house down, burning his family's house down. He was living with his family just to make it even worse. I watch it. It's kind of funny because you can it's kind of like this weird computer voice, but it's like typing out what the people are typing in. It's saying what the people are typing into it. And I like when he was focusing on one part, and then you can see the fire behind him is starting, and the voice goes, "Ushiro, Ushiro," which means behind you, behind you. Which, it was very inept. Because he was like, oh, I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to put this fire over here, put some paper on it, and we'll run and get a glass of water. And it's like, it's an oil lighter. Water isn't going to really help much. What you want is either like baking soda, something to suffocate the fire, or a fire extinguisher. And I heard fire extinguisher sales kind of like shot up a bit thanks to that video, because it went viral. All right, let's run this time.
やばい、絶対やばい。逃げなきゃ。ごめん、黒い。
待って君。
何なんだろうここ。昔の防空壕か何か。
It could very well be an old air raid shelter, because the events that Sachiko was killed was in the 50s, so could very well be.
こんなとこに。私たちみたいにこの建物に閉じ込められたのか。そこの子、ここは危ないから。あなた。
お姉ちゃん、お姉ちゃん誰？あの人殺しのおじさんの仲間？
違うよ、怖がらないで。私もね、逃げてきたんだ。あなた、この血どうしたの？人殺しのおじさんって。
わからないの。大きいおじさんに友達が3人殺されて、私だけ助かったの。
そう、ひどい目にあったんだね。お姉ちゃん、お友達を探してる途中なんだけど、よかったら一緒に来なよ。ここ危なそうだし、ぶっちゃけ私も一人じゃ怖いしね。
うん、ありがとう。
思ったより入り組んでるみたい。地図でもあれば。
こっちだよ、お姉ちゃん。こっち。ここ。
道に詳しいんだね。
慣れてるから。
そういえば、あなたのお名前まだ。
篠崎幸子。
いった何するの？
さあ、何をしようかな。
何なの？ここ。
I couldn't decide if it looked more like a pre-war medical facility or a meat processing plant. Don't you think a pre-war medical facility would be a little cleaner? The stench was overpowering. Not only was the smell of rotting flesh everywhere, but the air was stale and thick. The room seemed to have no ventilation to speak of whatsoever. My eye was first drawn to the blood-spattered table, then to the many other instruments, all stained with dried blood and sprinkled liberally with viscera. And then I saw it, in the back of the room.
そんなあれって。
There was definitely more meat processing than medicine going on in here. What I saw was literally a pile of human remains, every one of them flayed open or torn apart. It was almost like a stack of discarded butcher scraps.
いや、何よこれ。いや、
そこに知り合いでもいた？どれ？返してあげる。一部でよける。全部吐いて楽になっちゃうといいよ。 ついた？じゃあ始めようか。
何する気なの？やめてよ。
みんなそう言うんだ。やめるわけないのにね。おい薄のろ、そいつを捕まえて。そうだな、吊るせ。
The large man seemed intent on obeying Sachiko's every command. He drew near me, slowly and robotically. There was no emotion, no sense of urgency. Just a man walking across the room to do his job, like it or not. I have to run. If he catches me, I'll be...
鬼ごっこ？出口はこっちだよ。たどり着く。
来ないでよ。
The man's movements remained slow and evenly paced, but there were only so many places to flee in a room this small. If I got tired before he did, I'd be finished. My only hope was to get out into the hall before that happened. The two of us glared at one another for a few moments from across the dissection table, and then as soon as he made his move, I leaped on top of it. I'd underestimate just how slippery the table might be, with its thick layer of blood and fat. I quickly spilled off the other side onto the floor. My legs and hindquarters were soaked through with the blood of an untold number of other people, but I didn't have time to think about that. Adrenaline gave me the strength to stick my landing, and I managed to keep running without skipping a beat. I was in the home stretch. For a couple more steps, anyway. A sharp pain suddenly shot through my leg as it touched the ground. I immediately fell into a heap. My right leg was now firmly impaled with thick, sharp metal spikes. I'd been caught in an old-fashioned bear trap. The kind that's got 2 rows of metal shark teeth lined up on either side, instantaneously snapping shut as soon as any weight is applied in the middle. The thing that was designed to catch bears and tigers, so what hope did a human have of escaping it?
Baka! 何十人ここで殺したと思ってる？大人って頭悪いな。お前らみんなこれに引っかかる。逃がさないんだから。
I swallowed my pain and started grabbing whatever I could get my hands on, dirt, bones, anything, and chucking it at the encroaching giant. It was the only thing left for me to do. I was out of options. The man's foot came down hard on my left leg. It immediately contorted unnaturally and went limp, and I could see a pointed shard of bone jutting out from a bloody hole in my sock. Next, the man wrapped both my arms in chains. As he pulled on the chains, my leg muscles also tightened, around sharp metal spikes and a compound fracture. The pain was literally unbearable. In my half-unconscious agony-addled state, I was just barely aware of being raised into the air by my arms on some sort of pulley system.
お姉ちゃん、肌きれいね。決めた。あなたはカワハギの毛。顔の皮を全部剥いたら、体も隅々まできれいに剥いてあげる。
Sachiko began approaching me with a broken off shard of an earthenware pot in her hands. No, God, no. No, 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 no.
きれいなプルプル。これつけたら私も大人になれるかしら。
An intense pain shot through my entire face. An undiluted primal scream escaped my mouth unwittingly, as if I were throwing up blood. But not a living soul was around to hear it. There was absolutely no way for me to resist anymore. All I could do was lie limply, strung up along the wall, and feel my skin getting peeled away. Sometime amongst the throbbing, shooting, burning, electric agony coursing through every nerve ending, overseen by the girl's sneer, I lost consciousness. The very last thing I saw before lapsing into eternal slumber was a familiar strip of skin being flapped about merrily in Sachiko's hands. It was my own face, perfectly flayed from my head, staring back at me with blank eyes and flanked by Sachiko's overly delightful grin. Alright, the second wrong ending. We know that canonically she's killed by Kizami. It seems like she has a better death that way. I mean, she goes fighting and not giving him the satisfaction he wants, so. Which, if you're gonna die, die with dignity. Alright. Here's the third one.
ここからこの穴から中が見えるかも。
おい、美月。
I put my eye up to the hole and saw the telltale glint of another eye staring back at me from within.
どうした？
誰かが中にこっち見てた。
そんなバカな。下からは足が見えないぞ。俺が確認してみる。
Fukuroi ducked down and peeked in through the hole exactly as I had.
フクロイ、どうしたの？ちょっと平気？フクロイ！嘘でしょ？
Fukuroi fell onto his side, and as soon as I could see his face, I noticed that his right glasses lens was cracked, and his right eye was bloody. On closer inspection, I noticed a round hole in the lens, as if a small stick or a fat needle had been instantaneously driven through it deep into his eye.
フクロイってば！起きて！起きてよ！
There was no hint of a response. He just kept steadily convulsing, as if he'd been electrocuted. How had this happened? What was going on?
女子トイレに男子が入っちゃいけないんだよ。
何をあんた？
The stall door opened, revealing a little girl with an eerie blue glow about her. She looked to be around grade school age, a 5th or 6th grader maybe. One of her eyes had been completely pulverized, but her face showed no indication of pain. Rather, it had a certain stoic quality to it. It was unreadable. Most disturbing of all, however, was the object she held in her right hand. It was an awl or an ice pick or some such thing, with a bloody, dripping blade.
お姉ちゃんが男子を女子トイレに入れたの？
待って、私？
Before I even had a chance to answer, the girl leaped from the stall with blinding speed.
いけないんだよ。
Reacting as quickly as I could, I threw my arm in front of my face and almost immediately felt the ice pick blade pierce right into it. Not just once, but twice, 3 times. It dug deep into my arm, my palm, my shoulder. I had to run. But she wasn't about to let me. She just quietly kept hacking away, working her way up and down the entire length of my arm. Bit by bit, my skin and flesh was chipped away, until finally the ice pick completely penetrated my palm and began boring into my cheek. Eventually my ear was hacked apart, and then I was scalped, so thoroughly that I could hear the sound of my skin peeling away with my remaining ear. There was nothing in the world but pain at this point. I couldn't focus on anything else if I'd wanted to. My vision was blank, and I honestly couldn't tell if it's because I had my eyes closed or if I simply didn't have eyes anymore. I only knew for sure that I was still being hacked apart because I could hear it. The pain gave no indication as it was already omnipresent. I begged for mercy several times in vain before I finally just started praying that this agony would come to an end. God, please. I'll endure whatever trials lie ahead with open arms if you'll just save me now. I beg of you, please make it stop. Alright, that's the 3rd wrong ending. Alright, let's try going into the hole.
くそ、こうしている間にも眉の身に何かあったら俺は下に降りてあれを拾って戻ってくる。簡単なことだ。
As long as I proceeded slowly and cautiously, I thought I'd be fine. First things first, I needed to figure out how deep this gap went.
深さは糸のここまでだから4メートル強ってところか。思ったより深いな。
My height is 178 centimeters, so with arms outstretched, I'd be about 2 meters or so. Which meant if I grabbed onto the ledge with my hands and lowered myself down, I'd only have another 2 meters to fall. And that seemed entirely reasonable. It was notably less of a drop than one would face when jumping from a 2nd-story veranda, for example.
問題は登る時だが、その辺の教室から机や椅子をいくつか運んできて、先に穴に落としておこう。
A little stacking could easily give me 1.5 meters of extra height, I thought. And that should get me plenty close to the edge of the hole. I'd probably be able to reach it and grab on with just a single jump.
最悪の場合、1時間後にはすぐそこの玄関に田口さんが戻ってくるから、大声で呼べば助けてくれるだろう。これでよし。行くか。足がくじいたかもしれない。地面が床みたいに平らじゃないことくらい予想できたろうに。
Well, at least I could finally find out what the item was that I'd seen from above. It was like a small notebook. No, I recognized it. This was a student ID. In fact, it seemed to be a Kisaragi Academy student ID.
これは眉の学生証。なんでこんなところに。まさか上からここに落ちて。眉いるのか、眉。
There were a considerable number of dead bodies down here with me. Most of them were full-on skeletons who seemed like they'd been here for ages, but a handful of them looked like they may have just died a few hours ago.
こんなに人が。それもほとんど俺と同世代の。一体何が行われているんだ、この学校では。
I briefly scanned the bodies of the departed in the dim, unnatural light that filtered in from above, and found one that was wearing very familiar clothes. This was definitely the uniform of Kisaragi Academy High School. I was horrified. Mayu, please tell me it's not you.
院長、おい、篠崎。
Both of Ayumi Shinozaki's eyes were wide open, but she wasn't looking at anything in particular. Those eyes weren't seeing anything at all anymore.
篠崎。なんで誰がこんな。落ち着け、冷静になるんだ。篠崎は死んでいる。これは死体だ。そこら中にある死体の一つだ。そう、篠崎の形をした肉の塊だ。ものなんだ。くそ、篠崎には岸沼がついていると思ったのに、あの単細胞は何をやってるんだ。あいつがどこかで油を売ってるから篠崎がこんなことに。こんな。
Oh, you're blaming Kishinuma out of everyone that could have possibly been with her. Because I don't think he knew he doesn't know at this point that Kishinuma and Ayumi were together.
遺族のために何か持って行った方がいいよな。こんなに血で汚れた制服はダメだな。遺族が動揺する。下着なんて論外だ。髪留めのゴム紐はありふれている。もう少し篠崎の個性が伝わるような。委員長のろうそくはここにはないか。髪の毛とかいいはずならいいだろう。ハサミがないからそうだな。仕方ない。歯で噛み切るか。人の髪の毛ってのは意外と丈夫なもんだな。綺麗に切れない。別の部分ならどうだ。例えば爪とか。待てよ。いや、舌がいいな。いいよな、篠崎。遺族のためだ。口を開けてくれ。ああ、舌がないじゃないか。畜生、誰が。ふざけるな。これじゃあ俺が。仕方ない。歯で妥協するか。 くそ抜けない。指で引っ張ったくらいじゃ。あれ、目の前が真っ黒。黒黒眉、どこだ。お前も俺
Alright, we got wrong end 4. And the next wrong end to get, you just let his darkening meter get to 100. So I'll pull up the same save.
どっちの方法を選ぶべきか。
I'm gonna fast forward through all that. This is the fastest way to get to 100. Oh, okay. So, yeah, just keep opening the door. The young girl thrust her face so close to mine that our noses practically touched. She was smiling from ear to ear. She looked to be in about first or second grade, with long black hair and a clean, cute, almost dainty countenance. After my brief impression, however, I quickly turned my head away. She was uncomfortably close, literally breathing down my neck, and her breath? It smelled of blood, of death and decay, and fatty oils and smoke. It smelled of chemicals and antiseptic. It was a very, very unpleasant potpourri.
嬉しくなっちゃう。なんだこれはって聞かないんだね。ここに来た人はみんなまず驚いて泣き出すのに。
The little girl began backing away from me, her shoulders still shaking in a soundless chuckle. I knew exactly what she meant. It would be entirely reasonable to ask what's going on here. Even at a glance, I could tell this room was not good. The floors and walls were caked in blood as thick as mud. Buckets of body parts were strewn all about and eviscerated corpses were stacked everywhere. And that was just what I could see at a glance. As for me, I was bound to a chair against one of the walls, not with ropes, but with chains.
私の名前は篠崎幸子。
俺をどうするつもりだ。殺すのか。
どうしよっかな。これから考える。先にこれで遊ぶから。
Just as she said the word else, she brought her hand down onto the nearby table in a slapping motion, and it made contact with someone. It was a girl, bound by her hands and feet, and Sachiko's slap was aimed squarely at her thigh. Her uniform suggested that she was in high school, and she was wearing glasses, giving her a rather stern, serious appearance. I could hear the sound of chattering teeth and see her chest rising and falling rapidly and erratically, suggesting she was paralyzed with fear.
名前はね、浦部恵美さん。
At the sound of her own name being read aloud from her student ID name tag, the girl let out a single whimper.
ダメ。お姉ちゃんは今からとびきり痛いことをされます。惨めったらしい顔や命乞いをして見せてくださいね。やだ。冗談だよね。だって私何も。うるさい。気が散る。
Sachiko swung her hand downward into Emi's face. I realized only after impact that there was a scalpel in it. A sloppy, uncontrolled incision was made from the corner of her mouth all the way to her ear.
なんてね。ごめんね、痛かった？本気じゃないからまだあんまり痛がらないで。これからもっと痛くなるのよ。
Sachiko produced a pair of durable sewing scissors from a rollaway shelf nearby and began expertly cutting all the way up Emi's school uniform. Then she set down the scissors and produced a full-sized farming sickle in their place. It looked well worn, with soil and rust sticking liberally to the blade. After brandishing it for a moment, Sachiko positioned it over Emi's abdomen. Sachiko slowly shifted her focus from Emi's abdomen to the area just below her rib cage. Emi's body began spasming, her spinal muscles contracting in a decidedly unnatural manner. Gasps and screams mixed with sounds of vomit and incontinence.
いい顔になってきたね。できるじゃないか。それだよ、それ。
Without even wiping the drool from her mouth, Sachiko tossed the sickle aside and simply began digging into Emi's wounds with her bare hands. The sound of tiny hands manipulating internal organs was disgustingly similar to that of a sopping wet rag squelching spilled oatmeal off a hardwood floor. The noises escaping Emi's mouth didn't even sound like they were coming from a human being anymore. I could see her face in profile now, and despite the gastric juices and vomit and blood and contortions of unbearable agony, it wasn't a disagreeable sight. This was a girl not far from death. She was trying her hardest to fight it, but the facts were the facts. She was going to die, and she knew it. Against this fate, she was completely and utterly helpless. She was doomed already, in both body and soul. This hapless struggle had a certain sensual quality to it. No, it was even purer than that. This was a truly beautiful sight.
本来に
Sachiko, who had at this point buried her head in Emi's exposed organs, withdrew it and directed this question at me, her mouth still full of flesh. Everything from her nose down was dyed red and dripped with blood.
本当にいい顔になってきたじゃないか。
She swallowed whatever she'd bitten out of Emi's insides, then turned to face me. Not just face me, actually, but stare at me, stare into me, with unwavering, unblinking eyes. I suddenly became aware of my own erratic breathing. It wasn't fear, though, but an almost animalistic reaction. It was coarse and primal, and I'd unconsciously thrust my chest forward, toward Emi. I think I may have been smiling.
どうだお前もやってみるかい
Don't be ridiculous. It's like she's making fun of me. She shouldn't even have to ask. Alright, that's the 5th wrong end. There's 3 more. Okay, so I have to go. I'm going to edit this video and, well, actually I may just upload a brand new video and we'll see the final 3 in the new video. So, see you then.